What's up, guys? Bod Podcast, Men's Discipleship. Hope you're doing good. Excited to be with you and just share a little bit with you today. Got Josh with me, my ride or die on this podcast, and we're a bunch of broke down guys right now.
Hey, man, I've been acting like I'm 26, but I'm 46.
You're 46. I'm 46. I had shoulder surgery last month. Just now getting to where I can use my left arm, and you have a back brace.
Yeah, I've hurt myself. But here's one thing we know is that we're going to be talking about being a godly husband. We've raised some kids. We're working on it. There's some truths that live inside of us that have come through some pain and brokenness.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah, we've got some road rash.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
We've got some scars, not just physical. I've got some physical scars.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know if it's been that kind of relationship between you and your wife, but she said, shut up, and I thought she said, stand up, and, but
I think it's about to get real. We're about to get real right now.
We're going to talk about some good stuff.
Yeah.
We've been talking about being a godly parent, raising godly daughters, raising godly sons, but now we're going to talk, we're going to take a little bit and we're going to talk about being a godly husband to just one individual, and that's your wife, But there's a lot in that because, newsflash, men and women are not the same.
Wait, they're different?
They are very different.
Yeah, they
and
are. Yeah, they are.
when you put two things that are that different together, you're going to have conflict.
Let me tell you what my wife thinks, that the truth of what our marriage needs for happiness is a vacation. Here's what I'm learning. I don't matter how old my kids are. If you have your kids, it's not considered a vacation. That's called a trip.
That's true.
If it's just you and your wife, that's a vacation. But every year she has said, just like so many people that are listening, that we're going to the beach this year. Everybody does it. We live close to the beach. We're going to the beach. I have yet, Trey, to see a family that was legit happy. I see a man, a father, dragging a cart.
Absolutely.
With just somebody screaming at kids. And have you yet to ever see a happy marriage on a vacation to the beach? And I don't even make it out of the interstate, and it ain't doing well for me.
No. Usually, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know if your wife's this way, but my wife and my daughter could camp out at the beach from the time we get there to the time we leave in the sun and just sit there and bake.
Sweat.
Yeah.
Like you're working.
Yeah.
It's like work. So exactly what I say.
I'll walk the beach for 2 hours looking for shark's teeth, and then I'm ready to go find a shade tree somewhere. And, women and men are different.
Let me tell you. So we were just talking about this. You've been married 25 years?
I've been married 25 years. May was 25 years for me.
May was 20 years for me. And one thing that we did have a vacation for a while, we got away from it. But every year in May, we would go on our own vacation to the beach, and that's Brooks' happy place. So we'd go, and this happened 3 years ago on our anniversary. Dude, on the third day, I was done. I'm like, I can't sit here and bake anymore. And so she's petrified of birds. She hates birds. And I knew what I was going to do. When I left that morning, the hotel, I grabbed a bagel and stuck it in my pocket. I waited till she fell asleep. She's laying on her belly. She fell asleep, and I crumbled that thing into so many pieces. The whole time she's just sitting there. I waited till she fell asleep. Trey, I'm outlining her with this bagel. At this point, there was guys coming by. They knew what I was doing because I was having to shoo the birds away. She's dead asleep, and I'm talking about, I started and outlined her. By the time I got done, I had to ask the guys that was videoing, you ready? And I threw the last little bit up in the air to the birds. Trey, that was not a good anniversary trip.
I bet not.
Bro, I got bored. I can't stand just sitting on the beach.
But hey, high five.
That's
a good thing.
Funny.
That was awesome.
It was funny, but you know what? What my life thinks we need for our marriage is never it for me. Like, we're completely different.
Listen, her desires and concerns are not, when it comes to us being different, women's desires and concerns are different than guys' desires and concerns. The way she sees things, I don't see things the way my wife sees. She wants to read a book. I'm wanting to watch hunting videos, or I want to watch John Wick shoot people. Yeah.
I can only watch so many of those stupid Hallmark movies, bro. I can't do another one.
I think the Hallmark Channel is of the devil. I don't like it at all. It's the same story, Josh. It's the same story of a single woman or
taking
mom.
the apple orchard over.
Yeah, it's the same story. A single woman. She thought she was in love. She had a baby with a guy who walked out and left her. And then this guy comes in with a turtleneck, and he's got skinny jeans on and
Turtleneck Tom.
you know what I'm saying. He comes in. He can play guitar and sing with the snow, and it gets on my nerves. It's the same story, ladies. It's the same story.
So look, there's this thing that in every one of those stories, what we're about to talk about with Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
that every woman wants to be wooed, wants to be served, wants this, like, they want something. And in every movie, it keeps appealing to the woman. And so it almost goes all the way back to the beginning when God created Adam.
Sure.
There was this place where I'm going to give you this. So we've talked about this before, but God gave Adam the garden, and he said, tend to it, cultivate it, make it, flourish. And so he did that, and he goes, you enjoy that? Man, I love it. And then he woke up one day, and there's Eve.
He's like, go to sleep.
Yeah. then he literally did this whole thing.
He wakes up, and he's like,
He goes,
something's missing.
Now cultivate this garden. You
Sure.
think that garden was work?
Yeah.
You think that was some work? Now cultivate this garden. She wants to be wooed. She wants to be served. Like, there's this whole thing. That's a tough place for us to start with is, hey, guys, I'm glad we're going to talk about this. You need to be godly husbands. This is where it starts.
Buckle up.
Work.
Yeah. Listen, this is not easy. Let me just, let me emphasize that. Being a husband is not easy. Sure, it's an honor. I can't imagine life without my wife. I love her, and she's the most precious thing in the world to me. But for me to sit here and say that it's not work sometimes, I would be lying, because it is work. Because we're two different things. We're two different beings. We're not made the same way. I heard somebody say one time, "She's a she," and it's hard sometimes for a man to understand the she.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to worry about things that I could care less about.
Mm.
She's going to look at things different that I wouldn't give a second thought about. She's done thought 4 steps ahead of. Women, they're just different. There's things that's going to concern her and scare her that don't concern me or scare me. And it takes work to make this thing work.
100%.
If that makes sense.
It's like the garden.
There's going to be sweat on your forehead.
Mhm.
There's going to be callus on your hands. There's going to be frustration. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you got to deal with in order for this thing to work.
If I'm being honest, Trey, I want to talk. I wish I could talk to me. So you being married 25 years, me being 20, and by the way, I'm still always meeting with guys who's been married 40, 50 years, right? I'm still talking to those guys.
And we still don't have it all figured out.
Oh my
Never
goodness,
will.
no. But I would love to still talk to that guy that is a few years in. And here's what I did. Brooke and I suffered in silence.
Okay.
We suffered in silence. And there was this, we're in ministry. We were supposed to have our stuff together. And what you just said, I can't figure her out for the life of me. She can't figure me out. And I had to go back. I was a minister who had to go back to the gospel to go, help me. Because what I thought I wanted more than anything, which I did, I wanted to marry Brooke. I pursued her, did everything. Listen, I say it so many times. I fell in love. I had to trip her.
Sure.
She wasn't sold. I was sold. She was not sold. I worked so hard, and then all of a sudden you got this thing, and you go, I don't know what I just got. I got a hold of a wild.
Do you think we at the beginning, we almost liked the concept of marriage without reading the fine print and reading the details and
look at us. We love the pursuit. We love the hunt. And then you got it. And here's what you know. It's a gift from God. But I didn't know it yet.
Sure.
I know it now more than I've ever known that my wife is my best friend and a gift from God. But those first few years, I thought we was enemies, bro. I'm going to tell you something, Trey. When I fight to win.
Yeah, but I think when we first got married, we just fought so we could make up. I'm serious. We didn't put a lot of thought into it. It was you take two people who had to figure it out on their own we both married country girls. They're no pushovers.
No.
They're going to tell you how they feel. They can tote their own.
Very independent.
Very independent. my wife's a nurse, your wife's a school teacher, so there's no sympathy that comes from either one of them.
Nope.
You know, it is what it is. But with that being said, we're still obligated as men to be godly husbands, even through all the junk, even through all the pain, even through all the frustration. And where do we get help from?
The Word. So
Got to get help from God.
I kind of want to walk it through just for a second to kind of share. The Lord had to truly reveal to me again what marriage was supposed to be, what my role was as a husband. Because I'm honest, I thought I was marrying her because she made me happy. And then what happened when she didn't make me happy?
Yeah.
And so Ephesians chapter 5, 25 through 28, it's really we don't have a whole lot of scriptures about husbands and wives, but husbands, love your wives, serve your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, make her holy, cleansing her by the washing of the water through the word, to present her to himself as a radiant church without stain, wrinkle, or blemish, but holy and blameless.
Do you think there's only a limited amount of scripture about husbands and wives? Because even God was like, listen, I can't figure these things out.
Bro, Paul finishes this, Ephesians says, and
I'm
this
so
is
sorry.
such a mystery.
It's a mystery.
This is such a mystery.
Scripture tells us it's better for a man to go get on the roof of your house than to live
with a nagging woman.
With an unruly woman.
With a nagging woman.
In other words, guys, we ain't got nothing for you. You know, there's going to be a time where you open the window and go get on top of the roof, you know?
Better place to sit.
But
you know what? No, when I read
we
this,
got to wade into this water, though.
So what was revealed to me, right? So we've been doing this about what God's called us to be pastor, protector, provider, what God's called us to do. And our greatest truth for us is to know God, right? To abide with him, to know him.
On a personal level, yeah.
Him. Yeah. And so I just remember sitting with God going, help me.
Help me, help you.
Bro,
help me, help you.
I'll never forget. And he got to this first part of love. And this is what I realized, how selfish I am. Does marriage not reveal how selfish you are? Because think about it, Trey. When I really said, I love her, you know what I was really saying? I love me.
Sure.
Because you know what I was saying is, I love how you make me feel.
Sure.
I love when you do that thing.
All right. So time out real quick. I think if we're not careful, and we got to keep our mature hats on here, guys have to understand that being in a relationship with a woman is not just about lust. It's about love.
Oh, Lord, no.
Lust, it's okay to lust after your wife. But there's a difference between love and lust. So when we lust, and I say it's okay to lust after
that lust is without relationship.
Yeah. Understand, lust is an evil thing that the enemy wants to, but it turns into love when you get married. You know, you have to, when you get married, lust is a selfish thing. Lust is something that you're just trying to get something out of this for you.
100%.
And when we turn it into love, you're in this not to just do it for you, but you want to make sure that they're taken care of as well. Does that make sense?
So when this journey happened, it was I was in my alone time with
lust
God,
is not
with
good.
him.
Let me just say that.
And as I'm sitting with him, I'm like, love her, got it, I love her. And it was like the Holy Spirit was like, no, you love you, bro.
You lust her, you love you. Yeah.
You are so selfish. And I'm like, what? And that's when he began to reveal, no, you love this, 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 and this. And that's when I realized one of the greatest questions we should ask every man before they get married. Why are you marrying her?
Sure.
And because if you would have asked me, I could have given you a list of like,
she can clean, because
man,
she can cook.
I could have given you a list, but here's what I know: every one of those have a contingency.
Sure.
So what? Let's just throw it out. Somebody gets married because man, she's smoking hot.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens when she's not anymore?
Yeah.
She don't take care. You know, I love when she makes me laugh. What happens when you ain't laughing no more? Right? And so
when she hits menopause and she has hot flashes and she's not going to be funny.
Listen,
what are you going to do?
When this truth of how selfish I am began to wash over me, I realized this thing was that you called me to love and serve. And so I've got to move beyond my selfishness. And if marriage is not revealed to y'all men that are married yet, or someone who's not been, marriage reveals our selfishness, I believe, more than anything. It's right in our face. And I'm consumed with my selfishness, and it's always before me. And so that's where we got to start dealing with. So what does it mean when we say to love? love requires action.
Sure.
It cannot be at the end of a feeling. Because, bro, you just said it. Oftentimes, what I thought was love has a feeling. Uh, it's way more. It is so much more than a
Because
feeling.
feelings come and go, man.
Oh,
And if all you do is love based off of feeling, what are you going to do? It's just like driving a vehicle. I love this vehicle until this vehicle has to have a timing chain put on it, or the wheels go flat, or this or that. Things are going to happen. You don't love based off of feeling. You love based off of covenant, off a source that you're getting help from.
mm-hmm.
There's times the carnal trait doesn't want to love.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There are times that I don't want to love my wife.
There's a lot of times you don't like her.
That's true.
Same. Like, I mean, there's a place I don't like this feeling.
If you want to give me, if anybody wants to give me crap about that, then I would say you need to look in the mirror and examine yourself, because there's friction that's going to happen between me and my wife. If I'm going down the road and I miss the road, and she's eager to tell me I missed the road, I'm going to lie and tell her I'm going a different way.
I knew where I was going.
Just for the fact that I've got pride. That's going to aggravate me. It's going to be hard. There's times when we don't see eye to eye, and it's hard. And we've got to, I think one of the biggest things men have to admit, we got to have help, Josh.
Dude, in that very place, if we read this, I want every man to first ask the question, why are you with your spouse? Why are you with your wife? And then he says, and our job is to love, and we're going to work through what that love is, but it is an action that's required. But my heart is breaking when we missed the very truth of when we abide with him. What happened? John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave action.
Sure.
1 Corinthians. How many weddings have you done? You did Lee's wedding. Did you do 1 Corinthians 13? Did you do that in his wedding?
Love is patient. Love is kind.
Are any of those feelings?
Nope.
They're all actions.
Love shows no records of wrong. All that stuff.
It's not easily offended.
Not easily offended.
So we'll get through some of those, but I mean, real quick.
But love never fails.
If your love is a contingent hinge on a feeling,
sure,
I just need you to know that's going to fail.
Yeah,
you cannot build off that.
We're talking. Okay, and there again, put the mature hat on. When we were growing up, I think one of the things that we talk in men's conferences and this and that, one of the things we have to tell guys is don't fall into booby traps. Literally. Mm-hmm. Don't fall into booby traps. We love the attraction of a woman. Well, what do you do when your wife gets diagnosed with cancer? Mm. What do you do when she has to have a surgical procedure and stuff like that? If it's all based upon appearance, if it's all based upon my feelings about how her body looks, or how if she makes me laugh, or if she cooks good, I'm telling you, there's got to be something deeper and bigger when it comes to this connection that you have with your wife that's going to help you get through this journey. Because at the end of the day, when the smoke clears and the dust settles, listen, I don't want to be one of these guys that have 3 notches under my belt because I tried to get married, it didn't work out, so I jumped out of that marriage, got into another marriage. No, I don't want to have listen, if you've had failed marriages, God can fix that. God can take care of you from this point on. But the goal is to be committed forever, man.
And so if we are going to be in that commitment forever, we're going to have to learn that the love that requires actions, it's not how we feel, it's how we deal.
Right.
It's how we deal with the person that we love. So there's got to be this action, this moving forward. And so in that very moment, I remember just the word washed over me first with, hey, how have I loved you?
Sure.
Was it contingent? Have I ever contingent my love? And I'm sitting abiding with him going, no, you've loved me when I didn't deserve it. You didn't. Because when I realized how selfish I was on why I didn't serve, because he says marriage is, if we summarize Ephesians 5 for husbands, it's this: love and serve your wife. And serve them literally to death. Serve them to death, like Christ served the church even unto death. So there's this truth of marriage is this love and serve. But at that love part, I had a love that was not out of this world. It was in this world. And it was this love that if you, then I. It was a contingent love.
Yep.
But the love that he calls us to is not contingent. And so all it was doing was just revealing again my selfish nature of where I was. And my heart breaks that I was so immature when we got married, and some of the conversations we had, some of the hurts that I can't undo. And so the sooner a guy can reveal, let's start with what what does it mean for me to say I love her?
Sure.
You have to first see, well, what does it mean that he says he loves you?
Yep.
That's got to be where the connection is.
And here's a hard pill to swallow. Sometimes you're not always going to get that a boy for what you have to do. There's going to be times that you work your tail off. There's going to be times that you go out of your way and you do this and you do that, and you're trying your best to be the best husband you can be, and you're not going to get a thank you. You're not going to get affirmation, and it hurts sometimes. Have you ever felt like you was lonely in a marriage?
Bro.
Have you ever felt like, and listen, don't think the enemy doesn't play games in your mind once you get married. I had a guy one time when I was younger, and he had just got married. He said, "Man, I thought I was just going to deal with temptation of pornography and stuff before I got married." He said, "It really didn't start till after I got married."
I heard that from so many guys.
Because that's
guys.
what the enemy's, he's out to destroy what God has tried to put together. So we've got all these issues, we got all these struggles, we got all these things that we're going through, and we're fighting. We're in the trenches, we're fighting. We're trying to raise kids, we're trying to provide, we're trying to work a job, we're trying to be the best husband we want to be. And sometimes all we want is, honey, I love you, you're doing an awesome job, you're a good man. And then there'll be seasons you don't get a thank you at all. Does that give you the right to quit doing what you're supposed to do?
No.
Does it suck, though?
A selfish person says yes, because they'll say, if you, then I.
Sure, but is that hard?
Dude, I'm telling you, listen, I don't know there's enough women that know this. One sentence of a affirming attaboy to a husband, dude, it would change. It won't change his day. It'll change his week, his month.
Sure.
One affirming word, because we are longing to be affirmed. The number one need for men is respect.
Honor and respect.
And honor and so to know that oftentimes,
but
it's going to be
we
hard.
have to ask for it, it deletes it. If we go to them and we say, "I just want you to tell me how much you appreciate me," and then when they say,
"I appreciate you," you're like, "Shut up."
That's bull crap. Then it doesn't count.
Yeah, but the part of this is, let's say we're talking to a guy that the wife's not affirming. He feels like, dude, my tank is empty.
Sure.
And you're asking me to love. There's nothing left in me. That's where the Lord through my wife taught me. My tank stayed empty. Now I'm just going to tell a little story of what happened. Was I was a subcontractor at the time, doing construction, working 10, 12-hour days. I was a youth pastor. I was still trying to get after hunting and fishing way more than I probably should have at that time in my life. But I remember I come in exhausted one night.
We've always had that problem.
And my wife says something about, "What do you want for supper?" I'm like, "I don't care." It was summer. She had been off. She was a school teacher. I'm like, "You should have probably already had it figured out." Like, I've been busting my tail. And so I remember, she was talking to me, and I was like, "Yeah, that's good." I just remember being very short.
Whatever.
My tank was empty.
Sure.
Right? And I remember thinking, what I was hoping is that old Hardee's commercial. I don't remember who it was, but she crawled on the car in lingerie with a cheeseburger. I was expecting to pull up in the driveway. Come on. I didn't get that. I never got that. But I remember being ill that day. I was ill. I was frustrated. And I got a phone call from one of the elders of the church.
You can't have an attitude sometimes.
I can't have an attitude. I get a call, elder, and I'm like, "Hey, yes, sir, brother so-and-so." And yeah, I absolutely will. All right. Love you too. Have a great day. When I hung up, my wife's looking at me, and I'm like, "What?" She said, "I'd rather you talk to me like one of those members of the church than you do your wife."
That's not what you needed to hear. It was what you needed to hear, but it wasn't what it was a gut punch, wasn't it?
I remember being like, and I said, you know, I said this, Trey. I said, "I can be myself around you." You know what she said? "A jerk." It's true. If I'm not watching myself, do you know what I can be? I can be a jerk. I can be very short.
I've been trying to tell you that for a long time.
Bro, I can be rough around the edges.
We all can.
And my wife said, "Do you know what, Josh? That was a choice. You looked at the phone, answered the phone, and it was a choice that you used kindness." And all of a sudden, she just went through this whole thing. Love, joy, peace. But that was a choice. And here's the difference. I thought, look, you committed to love me. I committed to love you. Better for worse. This is worse. You're stuck with it. What no one had ever taught me. Why am I not presenting the best to my wife? Because think about it. I was a subcontractor. I was nice to the contractors. I was nice to people that was working around me. I go to the bank and I'm nice to those. I don't even know those people, let alone love them. And I'm using my patience and kindness. I'm using my manners. I'm going out of my way to be patient with people. Trey, my best friend's right there, and she gets the worst of me. Dude, this was 2 years into our marriage, and this thing transformed our marriage. I remember that night, what happened is I ate supper alone. I left. I ate supper alone. I came back, she was asleep, and I played NASCAR. I had the steering wheel. All night, I'm just driving, playing video games. And all night as I'm playing video games, I'm mad as fire.
Man,
You know why I'm mad? She's so right.
I hate it when they're right.
She's so right. And so I went the next.
She's in there sleeping good, wasn't she?
Oh, but she's out. I went and began to abide with the Father.
Yeah.
And I said, thank you.
How important was it to get through that with God?
Thank you, God, that how you've treated me is I didn't get the wrath of God, because that's who you can be.
Sure.
I can be a jerk. But he said, love is action. I'm giving action. I'm giving long suffering, patience, kindness, all of that. And I'm like, I'll never again. I won't give it to anybody else more than I'll give it to my wife. At the time, it was just my wife, and now my kids.
Sure.
And have I failed in it? Absolutely. But we have worked our tail off to know this is a choice. Love is an action. And so if you find yourself really short with your spouse and find yourself, think about how much patience it took for you at work, at life. It's in there. You just have to choose to do it. Love requires action. When it's hard and when you don't feel it. When he said, love your wife like Christ served the church, the feeling was detached from it. It's not how we feel, it's how we deal.
Because we don't feel like it sometimes. We're exhausted, we're tired, we're worn out. And I'm not just talking about physically, emotionally. Sometimes we are screaming and nobody can hear us.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want some help. And when we think we come to the end of the rope and when we think our tank is completely empty, it's usually at that moment you get hit with something else, and God looks at us, he's like, it's your job.
Yeah.
There's nobody else that's going to be able to do this. This is on you.
And I know I'm digressing a little bit, going back to sons and daughters, but you gotta know that God set us up. That's why it's called daddy issues. He set us up so that our children respond to their fathers, their love, serving, respect, passion. Like the way we speak, we were talking about how we speak to our wife, but the way we speak to our son, our daughter, is often how they'll hear God.
Sure.
And I have told this story before, but I'll tell it again, is that recently Addison and Brooke were at Disney, and I came in and I thought, man, just me and Luke tonight. We're going to have wings. We'll eat whatever he wants. And I remember calling his name, Luke. He came in. I could tell he had a little attitude. And I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, so whatever. What's up, Dad? And I'm like, no, what's wrong with you? And he said, I don't know. Usually when you call my name, I've either not done something right or I got to do something.
Yeah.
It was in that place that I realized I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I'm doing it again because love requires action. Something's not done right. The last thing I need to do is move straight into barking orders. It's going to have to be this relationship of love.
So for all the guys out there listening, understand, being a godly husband requires a lot of sacrifice. If you're a guy that struggles with pride, more than likely you're struggling in your marriage, because pride and a successful marriage usually don't go hand in hand.
Mm.
You're going to have to kill that pride. You're going to have to let it go, because, and it's not so much pride over your wife, it's just pride over yourself sometimes. I think we're too prideful sometimes to admit that we need help, and we've got to establish something and make sure that it's very clear as we go forward that there has to be a white flag that we raise and say, God, without you, I am lost. I am undone. I am going to screw this thing up. And, I'll just be another statistic on the divorce rate, because I can't do this without God. There have been times in my marriage that if it had not been for God, I felt like I'd have walked out. And if it wasn't for being able to go to God in prayer and saying, God, I need your help, I wasn't right. I wasn't, just this didn't happen long ago. We was talking and going back, God, there are things that I believe that God requires and God expects, not just through Scripture, but I think as moral men for our wives, there's things that we should do. We should provide. We should protect and provide and care for, and I do. I love providing for my family. That's awesome. It's an awesome feeling for me. I love providing for my family. If they need something, I want to give it to them. If I have the means to do it, I'm going to give it to them. But I found myself lording over my family. Like, I would do something for them, and then I'd be like, didn't you see that I did that for you? Mm-hmm. Don't you realize what I do for you? Mm-hmm. Don't you realize that I pay the rent, or I pay the house payment and the mortgage? Don't you realize that I pay the insurance for those cars? Don't you realize I bought the cell phones and pay the cell phone? Don't you realize that the internet you use while you're in this house, I pay for?
There's like stiff-necked people, aren't they?
But here's the deal. Not one time has God ever looked at me and said, don't you realize I did all this for you? Mm-hmm. Don't you realize my son died for you? Don't you realize that he never lords that over me? He never hangs it over my head. Mm-hmm. And I just felt the Holy Spirit speak to me, and he was just like, dude, yeah, it's your job, but it ain't your job to brag about it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but God, I want affirmation. I want them to applaud me. He said, it's your job to do it whether they applaud you or not. And that sucks. That really does. It's hard sometimes. Yeah. But I looked at them the other day because it broke my heart, because my wife was like, I don't want you to do anything for me, because if you do it, you're just going to hold it over my head. And I was like, it was one of those moments I was just like, you're not right, but you're right.
Yep. I don't want to hear that you're right.
And I told her and my daughter, I said, listen, I'm going to check it right now. I said, if I ever say anything like that again, I want you to check me on it. I give you permission to check me.
That's good.
Because I love to take care of you, and I never want to abuse that. And I think we as men have to understand that there are going to be times that you never get a pat on the back.
Yep. And that's where it has to, if we don't come back to this abiding thing that goes through everything and sit with him and be reminded, dude, all throughout the Bible, they forgot. They didn't remember how God has been providing, been protecting, and doing all the work. And he kept going, what in the world? It's in our nature. It's in their nature. But here's the thing, that it's not our job to be in wanting his glory, because if we're really being men that are honest, is it not that God has given you the job, that God has given you the ability to work, that God did all of that, but we're found wanting? They said that's why Satan was kicked out of heaven.
Sure.
The Bible says because he was found wanting. He was wanting some of his glory and some of his honor. There is this longing in every man. The studies show it's respect. I want to be respected. I want to be honored. But the thing that God's called us to do is, like you said, not to pry it back out of them. Just keep serving. And so in this serving mentality and serving thing, if you got married for any other reason besides choosing to serve your wife, you're going to fail. Because if it was because any contingency, marriage is serving. If a guy doesn't hear anything else today, marriage is serving. And that love that you're serving requires action. Hey guys, we had so much we want to talk about. We couldn't get in one podcast, so we should come back.
Because it takes a lot to talk about wives.
Oh my goodness, a lot to talk about.
We've got a lot to talk about wives, so we want you to check out the next episode. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We got a lot of info we want to share with you. We love you guys, and we will see you on the next go-around.